What do you make of the letter last week that a bunch of different people signed, Elon Musk among them, that we should pause for 6 months the development and let society kind of absorb the implications, or at least think through the changes that are coming just from GPT-4 and some of the recent progress?
I mean, many people have commented, so I'm mostly going to repeat what other people said. First of all, it would just be really hard to enforce. Second, it would take away U.S. lead in this and give other nations time to catch up. But I think more importantly, there isn't just much that would happen in those 6 months, other than having proved the willingness to restrict the technology, which I think is the real purpose. The real purpose would be sometime in that 6 months, we make a proposal for more regulation and more limitations. And then we, lock it down more permanently. I think that's the actual plan. That is, I don't think we have after 6 months, we have much of a better idea how to regulate. Basically, I think people are thinking, look, we need to regulate this thing. That takes some time. It'll take time to put our political coalitions together, to get people behind some bills, to write out the language. We need time to make that happen. They want to regulate AI strongly, but they're not ready to now. And so they just want this pause period to set up that regulation so that by the end of the 6 months, they've got regulation passed that would extend it for indefinitely. They just want strong regulation indefinitely. And so do you want this industry heavily regulated? Then is the question. And, I'm an economist, and we have many ways that we think about regulation and many kinds of regulation that makes more versus less sense to us. But almost always regulation is a response to actual concrete, envisionable problems. Things that actually went wrong typically in the past, or that we believe went wrong. Here you've got just this vague, vast space of possibilities, and you want to empower someone to just block off the whole space because it looks scary. That just doesn't look like the sort of thing we've been good at in the past in terms of regulation. And honestly, there's enormous promise in this space. In many other areas of regulation, what we've often done is just blocked off whole areas of change and not allowed them. And then there's just no innovation in those areas. If you want to control and regulate actual systems that would exist, you have to allow them to exist for a while, and then, try out things and experiment and evolve different variations. So,
the pushback or the distinction, I think, that people that are concerned or want this regulation in some form versus other examples is the risk of a fast takeoff, which I know we've sort of touched on here as well. And then the overall catastrophic risk of what could happen, right? And so the airline example is a great one, right? Of you needed to build an airline and understand how would we even know what TSA needed to be prior to airlines existing and people using them and all that.
Right.
That said, that actually involved tons of manufacturing, and the risk was, yes, some people were going to die, but it wasn't going to be society, right? It was going to be individuals around that. And so I guess that's the distinction that people that are concerned about this, I think, tend to draw on is the fast takeoff and then the overall catastrophic risk.
Right. So that's why we have to ask, what are these scenarios by which everybody dies as a result of strange AI things? So in a world where there are many AIs controlled by many organizations, if one organization loses control of one AI, that's just not the end of the world. Each of these organizations is going to be constrained by competing with and being monitored by all the others. So in order to be afraid of the one AI kills us all thing, you have to be afraid of two scenarios, I guess. One is there's this one AI that just jumps ahead of all the rest. It does this FOOM thing where it's small and tiny before, and then it has this vast speed of acceleration that other AI systems do not have at the same time. And that during that change, its values change radically compared to what they were at the beginning of the process. That's just a crazy, unlikely scenario, given everything we know about history, I'd say. The other scenario people would be worried about is saying that intrinsically AIs don't have a coordination problem. They can all just get along with each other. So all the AIs in the world would just talk and say, hey, let's take over and get rid of the humans, and decide to do that and then just do it because they don't have problems coordinating. I mean, it seems to me the problem of coordination is very robust, and AIs don't escape from it. So I'm not very worried about that scenario either.